and in today's video, we're going to be looking at yes or no to any single question, but primarily focused on the next 48 hours. Now, if you're familiar with my channel or my other readings, we not only go into whether it's yes or no, but we look at the information to understand the subtext, to better understand how it will affect your future, how it will affect your current and future manifestations, how it affects your past, how we got there. You get the answer and then some. In addition to that, if you would like to support me, I have a Patreon where I post tons. I cannot stress that enough. There's a lot of videos over there of exclusive spiritual content, from guided meditations to a lot of people just ask questions, and I love going to the Akashic Records and talking to my spirit guides and such to get the answers. I just posted 2 new videos over there. One is all about shadow people, and then the second is about the spiritual meaning of tattoos, as well as a fun fact I go into, did you know spirit guides have tattoos, and why and what that exactly means. In addition to that, I have an intuition training course and a tarot training course that go fantastic together. In the intuition training course, you learn how to go to the spirit realm, meet your spirit guides, and bring what you learn in the non-physical and see how much it overlaps into the physical world, and bringing that all together in a practical sense. And in my tarot training course, it's all about getting right into reading the cards, making it more simple and something you can get directly into without losing the details and viewing the cards in a way you might not have initially expected. Anyways, going back to our reading, we have 6 groups in front of us. Think of your question at hand, put it in a yes or no format in your head, resonate with it before you pick the groups. We've got group number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to give you a moment to do that. Now that you have, you can go down to the description and you can go to your designated group and it's marked timestamp, and feel free to start at the beginning of this video and ask some more questions. Have fun. Do a whole yes and no thing upon a bunch of questions. Have a good time. Anyways, let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out yes or no to any single question over the next 48 hours by looking at the cards. We have Eight of Swords in reverse, King of Cups upright, Magician in reverse, oh, and the 3 of Wands upright. My spirit guides tell me about this one. You know, I'm going to point out something really interesting that is reflected in the way the cards are picked as well as the answer in itself. So when we're looking into tarot cards, if you're familiar with my intuition training course or my tarot training course, I go over how to find yes or no answers in both of them and the different methods you can use. But here's the thing with tarot, you're always looking at subtext. You're looking at the whole as well as the individual messages and how they all come together, because that will give you even more answers, even more meaning, even more details. So one of the methods when you're choosing yes or no to answers is picking an odd amount of cards, so like 3s, 5s, that type of thing, and you're more easily able to find the more positive cards compared to the negative, and therefore be like, oh, there's more positive to negative, so it's a yes or whatever. Or you can go into another method, which is when you're looking at how the information is discussing amongst itself. So even if there's a bunch of negative cards, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a no or it's a yes, so on and so forth. So if you notice here, my spirit guide wanted me to pick an even amount of cards for this group, which I think is really interesting. So it already forces us to have to look more over a subtext meaning, which only lets me know more about where you're at in your particular life and the question you're asking itself. Because sometimes we want very literal answers, very literal literal, straightforward, to the point. If I pick a cake, I get a cake. You know what I mean? That type of concept. But sometimes when you don't have cake and you only have cupcakes, it's about understanding, well, why did you get cupcakes? What does that mean? And therefore, you are then exercising that spiritual muscle, that part of you that asks questions, looks for different possibilities and options. Because when we are forced to ask those questions and understand them in it, like understand all the different possibilities, we are growing spiritually. So more is being asked of us. So we're essentially training and getting stronger and smarter. And it not only makes us more intuitively, like you grow in your intuition and your psychic abilities and that type of thing, but you're essentially opening more doors and options for yourself. So understand that being forced to look at more subtext rather than the literal comparison of the odd numbers is letting me know that you're getting stronger and smarter, and it's now time to exercise that. So I can tell you right off the bat, this is a no, but let's get into why. And actually, it is a very positive no, because it will help you keep hope and understand that you're actually, in fact, doing incredibly well in the current circumstance. And this is more of an outer circumstance situation. So I want you to look at these three cards here, and the Three of Wands, the Magician in reverse, and the Eight of Swords in reverse, which my spirit guide said is being read, in fact, in an upright position, despite it being in reverse. Now, when it's an upright position, it implies that a person is being caged off, they are limited, they are unable to perceive or receive things around them. There's sort of a cutting off type of feeling. If it's in reverse, it's the opposite. You're being freed. You're finally seeing all of those limitations that were perceived are not really there, that type of scenario. Now, this actually doesn't have anything to do really with you. These are sort of outside forces. But this card is facing the King of Cups. I'm very happy to say that you are the King of Cups. But these influencing outside cards are the problem of why it's a no. So first, in the Three of Wands, this is talking about messages being sent to you. I think it's really interesting that we have that concept of messages being repeated very literally here in the Magicians, and you could go even further and say the Eight of Swords. So in the Three of Wands, despite it being upright, and normally it's a positive card, my spirit guide was explaining in some of the, like looking at the card and explaining some imagery and stuff like that, is in fact implying that the message would take a very long time to get to you. And it would just, let me just ask them again if it's like a full-on no, or it's like it would just take too long, it wouldn't be relevant by the time it came. The second one, my spirit guide said, okay. So it's like it's coming your way, the answer you want, the receive, whatever it be, like a response from somebody else or a job or something like that, but it's taking so long, by the time you get it, you'd be like, okay, well, I don't want anymore, or it's a little too late, I've moved on, or whatever, that type of thing. Then over here in the Magician card, this is literally the messenger of gods. And it's the idea that when it's upright, I love to look at this imagery right here. They are literally giving that message back and forth. Nice clear connection from the physical plane to the non-physical plane with the way their arms are set up. But when it's in reverse, it implies it's a no-go. Messages are not being received right now. It's a cutoff type of scenario. But even here with the Eight of Swords, we can talk about the eight, or I'm sorry, not the eight, the swords representing being vocal and verbal. Again, that concept of like when you share a message, often it's shared in a very verbal way. But as you can tell with their blindfold and being in a position, not being able to have open arms, they're not able to receive that message. Now, interesting thing here is I was asking about the fog because around this being, you could say, being one of the main factors that's preventing you over here in the King of Cups and receiving. So this is where it gets really interesting. My spirit guide said that an outside energy force is influencing the person that would basically be giving you the thing that you want, the bringing it your way, whether, remember, this is yes or no to anything. So whether it be an answer, or maybe you are hoping to get an opportunity, they're the one bringing you the opportunity, and there's sort of an influencing factor around them. Now, this is not because of you. You are not causing this influence. We are all individuals co-creating together. So while they might be part of your process of manifestation, your process of asking a question, they've got their own things going on in their lives. So you are not the one affecting this energy thing going on around them. So they are basically being influenced, and this is anything from like them getting in their head about their own things, so it causes them to be less motivated to work on what they need to work on in order to bring it to you. Maybe they're doubting their own self, whatever it is, they're caught up in their own thing. And again, it has nothing to do with anything that you caused. Same thing over here. It's the sense of like lots of blockers, lots of outside factors affecting these other individuals. Now, I want to talk about why this is actually, in fact, a positive no, and something to gain and learn from, as we talked about in the beginning of the reading. So in the King of Cups, this is a fantastic card to be represented by. When we talk about cups, that is about being someone who's emotionally open, and our emotions often dictate how we manifest. Now, this is not always the case. I want to be absolutely clear. You can be so sad or in a dark place and manifest wonderful things. Do not be coerced or told or receive that if you're not perfectly happy, you can't get what you want. That is a lie. I mean, think about how many people were like very not in a great place their entire life and had wonderful artistic careers and so on and so forth. It's just not always the case. Just want to be absolutely clear about it. But because emotions are a byproduct of energy, when we're really in control of our emotions and really in tune with it, it does make things flow easier. It makes it easier to believe. It makes it easier to send out into the world. It makes it easier in general to flow and fluctuate with our own internal. And when I say flow, it's like, you know, when you're in the flow, you feel like you're perfectly walking into the next opportunity and knowing what to do and having synchronicities, that type of nice little flow you're in the universe. But also, when you are a master of your emotions, other people go to you for your opinion. You're not only beneficial for your life, but for others. You are true, as the king says, master of your emotions. And so you're in a great open place. That's the big thing. You're open, you're trusting, you know what to do, you know how to intuitively interpret if something's a good or bad situation. You're ready to go. There is nothing wrong with you. But sometimes when we understand our outside forces are not in our control, that can make the process of manifesting need to be a little more detailed. That's the thing with when it comes to asking and receiving and saying yes or no, is this a good or bad idea? So on one hand, if your question is like, hey, should I do this? What's going on? It's like there's a lot of factors in play that are clearly popping up that's saying, no, you're being blocked and it's for a good reason. You're good to go. Just because it's a no doesn't mean it's a bad no. But on the other hand, we can get a little more detailing, because when we manifest a little bit differently as we get a little further into our life, wherever we're at in our particular experiences and, personal journey and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, but while manifesting can be really easy, sometimes when you're not seeing the results of your manifestation, it's because you need to be more detailed. And it doesn't mean detailed as in detailed of like what it is you need to ask for, but sometimes it's the way you're asking for it. So sometimes you need to ask for more general and keep it more open, but sometimes you want to add some extra factors like, I manifest that when I want this thing, all paths are open to me. Or maybe you need to dig a little deeper if you're very spiritually in that you're able to go through the spirit realm. You can dig through the manifestation process. You can see the trail, so to speak, and you can go through and you say, hey, is there any bumps in the road I can myself go in and literally remove? Can I remove those? Is that what I need to do? Because the more, I know this sounds kind of, I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, so I'm trying to go into as much detail, but also keep it as roundabout as it can be. That might be a little bit of a somewhat annoying exercise to do, yet nonetheless, you're becoming a stronger, more self-aware co-creator. So it doesn't mean you have more bumps in the road because you're doing anything wrong. You're sort of being given an opportunity to get stronger at what you're good at. A good recommendation, if you are not, I just always recommend, that's the whole reason why I have the intuition training course. You can just literally go to the spirit realm, ask your spirit guides, hey, I have some bumps in the road. Can I remove them? Can you show me how I can code, spiritually code, and which I have a whole video on my Patreon that goes into explanation of coding. But can I code? Can I do anything to remove this? And they can help you, and you can like vibe in the spirit realm. You also are welcome to take your tarot cards yourself and say, hey, I see some bumps in the road. Can you show them to me? And then you can sit and meditate on having them individually removed. Or you can just straight up set up a meditation and imagine yourself on a trail of that manifestation of what it is you're asking for, right? And as you're asking for it, feel it out, let yourself sense, even ask your spirit guides to guide you in the meditation. And as you're being guided, when you feel a little bit of resistance, sit there. Is it something that you can fathom, that you can fix? Is there a knot? Can you unknot it? Do you see there's a wall? Can you imagine yourself smashing down that wall? Anything that makes you more a part of the process is a good thing. So yes, this is a no. This is a no. However, there's actually nothing wrong with what you're personally doing right now in your life. You're ready to go, but either this is something that you can more hands-on fix, or in a positive, again, this is a general reading, or this no is in fact a good thing, that you want to keep going with this flow and you're not meant to receive that at this time to mess with your flow. So there you go. I love that. A little more awareness about yourself. If you're interested at all in being more hands-on with your own spiritual awakening and abilities, there you go. A little more awareness to work with that. And I hope you loved it. Please give this video a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's find out, is it a yes or no to any single question over the next 48 hours by looking at the cards. We have the Devil card upright. We have the Six of Swords upright, the Emperor in reversed, the Page of Swords in reversed, and the Two of Swords in reversed. This is very like, with all the swords, it makes me think like you're really in your head when you're making this decision. You're like, especially with the Emperor card in reversed and the Devil card upright, it's a lot of like, you're being forced to be in your head. So just give me 1 second. And when I mean being forced within your head, somebody's influencing you and it's creating you to overthink a lot of your decisions and that type of thing. So give me 1 second to look at all this information. Yeah, that was so dead on. Okay, let's get into this. This is really important to understand the context of what we've got going here, because not only are we going to go over the answer right away, but we're going to understand why there's that answer, and guess what? How you can change this answer. So first off, it is a straight up no, but let's understand why it's a no. It's like a no for a good reason. Why? So over here with the Two of Swords in reverse, my spirit guide is telling me that you have made a decision already on an unconscious level. So this would be like this is really interesting, but when we are manifesting the things we want in life, when sometimes they're not working out, it's not always for a reason as if we are meant to do something else because of a karmic contract kind of thing. Like before we came here, ourselves, when we were like in that in-between space before we came here, was like, this is the thing that I'd really like to do. It's more that on an unconscious level, you're like, I don't really want to do this. I think this is my only option, or I think this is what I want because I think this is all that I know, but unknowingly, it's kind of like we have our dreams and our hobbies, but that doesn't mean our hobbies always need to be our long-term career. It doesn't mean you're not good at your hobby or anything like that, but there might be another hobby that you actually would enjoy the lifestyle of working that way regularly. So we sort of block ourselves on an unconscious level, and then we think, why isn't it working out? So it's that kind of concept. It's like on an internal level, you might say, well, I want this, but your unconscious is like, no, I don't want this. I already know what I want, and this isn't it. I'm making that decision. So understand that you're already a little bit in your own way in that creation part, but not in a bad way. That's okay. You already know what you want. So it not happening is a blessing, but we're going to talk about that more in a second. So over here, we're going to first start with the Emperor card in reverse. There is a person who is influencing you to make this decision. So they're putting you, and when we have an Emperor in reverse, this is not great. This is somebody who's controlling. They've got a really negative, oppressive, domineering vibe, but they are putting you in a position where you're like, I've got to make a decision to get out of this situation. But unfortunately, that is the reason why, in fact, it's not working. We get the confirming card over here with the Devil card. Again, very toxic, oppressive vibes. Something important to note is it causes, and I am pretty sure you're very aware of this, people tend to be when they're aware of it, this type of panic from this type of personality that they put upon another person, is it causes people to be in a loop. That's the big thing with this card, is this constant, habitual, like you make decisions, you fall back into it, you're forced to make the same decisions again, over and over again. You know, the whole term where they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But in this particular case, you're making it out of fear and panic, most likely. But I want to look at this imagery over here with this Six of Swords. Now, normally the Six of Swords is a positive card. And in fact, there is a little bit of a positive omen in it because it implies you will eventually get out of this circumstance. You're going to get out of it. But with the swords being in the boat, that makes things a little bit more difficult. It implies a slower journey, implies obstacles, but we're not focusing on the length or how long it's going to take you to get out of this circumstance and this type of influential power. That's not the main message here we're going for. We're just talking about that these two influences, where you came from is also where you're heading to. So you're making a decision based on someone forcing you to make that decision. So you're thinking, so a good example is, let's say you don't really like where you're living, your living circumstance, and you're like, I gotta get out of here, I wanna get to this other place. But that's not the dream location you'd like to move to. You're just picking it because it's not where you're currently at. So you're making a decision out of fear and panic. Understandably, I wanna be clear, there's no criticism here. It's totally understandable that this is the expression. But again, that unconscious part of you is like, I don't want this though. I do want this. I want this idea, but this isn't it. So let me just think about the last card before we go over the main focal point, because it does have a positive ending. Don't worry about that. In the Page of Swords, this is about being unable to hear that side of yourself, that part of yourself that is able to receive, contemplate, think, just sit for a second and be like, what are my options? What do I want to do? Do I feel like I can express them out loud to others? And you're just not really in that place right now. Because again, we talk about the influence that is being put upon you. But the main solution we have, despite it being a no, again, it's a good no because this isn't ultimately which will bring you long-term happiness. It's about regrouping, finding a situation where you can find the ability to think and contemplate and find what is it that you really want a yes or no to. So you're going to pull back, you're going to find some way to have some isolation, whether this be to, maybe this is your room, maybe this is a coffee shop, somewhere where you can just find a little couple hours where you can think to yourself and cool down. You're going to take a second and find your inner peace by maybe you're just going to meditate and allow yourself to think about nothing and just clear your head to get unstimulated. Maybe you're going to chill out with your favorite movie or music album or whatever like that. Whatever it is, you're going to give yourself an hour or two just to decompress. Then once you've decompressed, you're going to sit down and make some sort of a list, writing on a pen and paper, or maybe you're going to make a fun Pinterest board and you're going to think, well, what is it that I really want? Because this thing I'm asking for isn't being influenced in the best way, and the unconscious part of me is blocking it because I'm not going to ultimately find happiness in the long term here. What is it that I really want? So again, we talk about that idea of like if you wanted to move somewhere where you're happier. So it'd be like, well, what I really want is this, this, and this in the next place I live or something like that. Or this is the job I'd really like, that type of an idea. And you're going to reconnect to that. And then you're going to go rework moving towards that decision. And don't worry and don't say to yourself, well, I can't right now, or that's impossible. No, stop. That is the influence of someone that they themselves see a limitation. So they create it and project it into your space. But that is not your insecurity. That's theirs. In fact, I highly recommend you doing a meditation where you're going to essentially cut a cord. I have a whole video on this channel. Look up cord cutting in my spiritual talks video. I talk all at length how to cut cords. And also you can take a second to meditate on the concept that you are sending other people's energy back to them. You don't need to take it on. You don't need to be influenced by it, and you're sending it back. It's their problem, it's their issue, and you're going to really just focus and repeatedly meditate, repeatedly see the imagery of this energy that's not yours being sent back to them. And you're sending it back to them. It's not yours. And as you're taking that away from you, you're going to realize that, of course, it's possible. Literally, in history, there are countless stories of the impossible happening. So if you say, oh, well, not me. Well, guess what? Those others that succeeded also thought that same thing. So that's a lie you're being told. That's a lie you're telling yourself. Anything's possible. You can have anything you want. And you're going to get back connected to what it is you really want. And then ask yes or no and move towards that. Because you're being blocked by yourself, because you're being influenced, but this is all for the greater good for you to get back into what you really want, but also get out of the influence and the thumb of the other person we were just talking about. So I love this for you. It's all about getting your head straight, pulling yourself out of a path that you never asked to be in, that isn't your path, and this other person can deal with their own problems. Because that's a them problem. That's not a you problem. And just living your best life and having all your dreams come true. Who doesn't love that? And getting out of this circumstance. Who doesn't love getting everything you want and getting out of a circumstance you don't want? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I love you. I wish you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out, is it a yes or no to any single question over the next 48 hours by looking at the cards? We've got 2 of Pentacles upright, the Judgment card in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles upright, and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Give me just one moment to look at the information. Also to get that a little more centered. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, so we're going to go over both the answer, but in more detailed information so you can understand where you're at, which I love. So first we're going to start with the Ace of Pentacles. These 2 are actually related, the 2 of Pentacles upright and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So this is an opportunity being presented your way. You're basically being given it to you. It's being handed to you, which I love because that just shows how great you're doing in manifestation, especially when we have one of the top manifestation cards, Queen of Pentacles. But it just shows you're sort of laying back and you're ready to receive it. There's not much more you really need to do. Over here, there's a little bit more detail, which I think is really interesting that pops up in the card, but it is important for it to pop up. And my spirit guide said that this is about 2 individuals giving you the opportunity. And again, I asked more questions. I said, this has nothing to do with balance, which is the traditional meaning. And they said, no. I said, is this 2 individuals giving 2 options? And they said, nope. 2 individuals giving 1 opportunity, which I think is a little interesting detail, because I was trying to ask more questions being like, does that mean anything? Is that something they need to take away from it? It's just a little extra of a confirming situation that you're moving towards the right, path. Anyways, so this is being given to the Queen of Pentacles. Now, this is what's so fantastic about this card, and just to be clear, the answer to this question is it's a yes. But we want to go a little further than that. With the Queen of Pentacles, she is in the most perfect position in her life. She is not only a queen of manifesting, she's very good at it, but when she receives things, it's because she has not only the confidence, and she's often when we're very confident, it makes it easier to manifest. Not always, but oftentimes. But she's confident because she developed the skills over time to be good at what she's good at. So a good example of this is somebody who's gotten really good at yoga or like programming, and then when they get this opportunity, it's a really good paying job or situation where they can make some more money, they're like, of course I got it. I worked very hard for this. I'm very good at what I'm good at. So she can manifest more of that in her life because she sort of is always embodying and putting out the energy of like, oh, I've got this. I can create it. I can create an opportunity for myself. If I'm given the opportunity, I know I'm more than ready for it. And that's something to really consider. That might be a strength at where you're at currently with manifestation. Because keep in mind, it doesn't always mean you have to then build the skills every time you are working towards that goal. Not that I'm dissuading against that, obviously. But it's more so the idea that as you're working towards whatever you want to manifest, if you get in that headspace of like, I've got this, I can create the aura and confidence that of course I can handle it. Of course I've got the abilities and skills. If I believe I do, then I have it. You know what I mean? It's something you can carry going forward when you're continuing to manifest. But we have over here the Judgment card, which is being read upright, not in reverse. It's facing towards the Queen of Pentacles. This implies that you are a fantastic judge of character within yourself, opportunities you'd like going forward, but decision making. Not only are you making the best decision when asking yes or no to this, and that it's not only a yes of like, oh yes, you're going to receive it, but like you asked the right question, you asked for the right opportunity. But going forward in this situation, moving forward, you'll be able to make the best decisions of, you know, because after you initially receive this thing you want or receive this answer, you're going to go further down a path, which not only shows let me just double check if this is subtext for longevity. Yes, it is. So not only is there longevity in what you're asking and moving forward down this path, but you can trust that you will continue to make good decisions, not only based on your skills as we talked about in general, but you're just in the right headspace to be able to. So it's like, go for it with confidence. You're being given it by two individuals. And I love this for you. So if you enjoyed this reading, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out, is it a yes or no to any single question for the next 48 hours by looking at the cards. We've got the 3 of Swords in reverse, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, the 9 of Pentacles upright, and the 10 of Cups upright. Give me just one moment to look over the details here. Oh, fantastic. Oh, I love this. This gives a little sprinkle of a question you weren't asking. There's an answer to the question you are asking here, but a little extra something in addition to it. So I love that. So let's go over the answer, but a little more reasons why and what that extra question is answering. So first off, this is a yes, which I absolutely love. It's a very strong yes. So these are where it's really strong here, and this is our cherry on the sundae. So in the 9 of Pentacles upright, this is not only showing like, yes, you're receiving it, you're doing great, but it's, as my spirit guide put it, you have worked hard enough and done enough up to this point in order to receive it. You know, you've paid your dues and now it is your time to shine, as they beautifully put it. So you're not only ready for it, but you've earned it, which is really beautiful. I want to put a little extra context in there. That one thing I love about the 9 of Pentacles is, now normally this is used for careers, but remember, we're doing yes or no to anything. This is any type of question you're asking. But when we have a 9 of Pentacles, when it comes to financial situations, this is somebody who's really enjoying the amount amount of money they have. So they're not only wealthy, but they're spending that wealth enjoyably, and it's very relaxing. You know, they're treating themselves to every whim they have, and they're just really benefiting from it. So you can use this in any context because, you know, let's say you're in love. This is you really enjoying and being in love. But if we extend off of that idea, we have the 10 of Cups upright, which is really cool. So besides the hilarious imagery, this is about just being in absolute bliss, that this is something that you've not only earned, but you know that you want, and you're going to really enjoy receiving. This is, and remember, this is still for any question, but I'm just giving some examples. So this is like finally getting your dream job and just having a blast while you're there, because you've known all along this is what you really wanted to do. Or you've, you know, again, we go back to the whole romantic relationships. You know, you've been with enough people that once you've really found that special person, you're like, oh wow, you know, this is it, because I know what I've wanted out of the experience. I've asked for it, I've manifested it, and I'm really enjoying receiving it, which is really beautiful. But besides these just being strong, like, you know what you want, you worked hard for it, and I want to be clear before I go on to this part, that's not something to downplay. It's interesting, but not everyone knows what they want so clearly until they experience it. Not everyone has that clear of self-awareness and imagination. And I want to be absolutely clear here, when it comes to growing as an individual in life and even your psychic abilities, being self-aware and being imaginative is one of the greatest skills you can have. So keep that in mind for yourself going forward with other things you'd like to explore. That these are things that you should focus on, that they're not only strengths for yourself, but they're strengths in general that you should focus on. But also, just keep in mind, not anything you need to really worry about, but going forward, if you ever have a moment of guilt or thinking like, oh, is that okay that I'm, experiencing X, Y, and Z? Yes, you've done enough. You've paid your dues. You could even tell yourself that as a motto going forward in life, that you get to continue a great life, get to continue to receive whatever it is you hope and desire, because you've done enough. You've done enough. It's time for the rest of your life to live and enjoy that. So just some things to consider. But also, I love what we've got going over here in the Ace of Pentacles and the Three of Swords in reverse. Now, the Three of Swords in reverse implies there is some type of not great circumstance that happened to you in the past. This is a pretty big range. It's not just blanketly cheating. It's something of very serious. It really caused you a lot of emotional distress and bothered you quite a bit. It's got a very serious connotation to it. When it's in reverse, it implies that yes, it is in the past, but also it's something that potentially, in order for you to move forward, in order for you to quote unquote pay your dues in other aspects. So let's say this is another scenario that happened outside of this scenario you were asking about. This other scenario is something you kind of sort of had to put on the back burner in order to focus somewhere else. You're like, I'll emotionally deal with it later. I can't get consumed by this because I'm just going to move forward in this way. Or maybe in order to help sort of cathartically deal with this, you kind of entrenched yourself more with that. Now, normally that is not a great thing. You want to deal with your emotions and face them and all that good jazz. And in fact, the Three of Swords talks about sweeping something under the rug and that you should probably face it, that you're prematurely moving on. But I'm really happy to say that the Ace of Pentacles being read upright, you could say. It doesn't really matter in this connotation. It's just that the idea is, think of the pentacle right here, this peace sign being represented as like a seed. You know what I mean? A missing part, if you will. And it's being handed over here to this imagery. It's being handed over to the heart to make it feel more full, more complete. I don't want to go as far as saying it's the, final solution or anything like that, but in you receiving and getting a yes for this circumstance, it is a really positive thing that helps with this circumstance you've had to put on the back burner for so long. It's giving you something you didn't know you needed. It's giving you sort of solace, comfort, stability, whatever it is, you've had to sort of put this on the back burner, and this is giving you a missing part that you couldn't have faced it without this missing part. So I love that, because not only is it a yes, and it's an extremely positive and strong yes, but it's actually going a little deeper into something you didn't even know you needed. But I want you to take a moment to reflect and be self-aware, because this is something that in life is so much more intricate and complex than we really know. It doesn't mean it needs to be complex in understanding it, but when we become a little more aware, it's like sort of think of it as like you're a small fish, and then you're becoming more aware that there's an ocean, then you're becoming more aware that there's a planet, so on and so forth. You're sort of outer growing in your perspective. By making one decision for yourself, you in turn made another. So in life, as you move forward, you are always making a decision, and then in turn it's creating other scenarios. And often cases, you're solving things when you don't always have the answers for them. So sometimes if you're ever stuck or having a moment where you're like, I don't know what to do, it's not necessarily a bad thing to focus your energy somewhere else and come back to that other thing in another time. Or by redirecting your attention somewhere else, you can in turn be finding and intuitively on a subconscious level guiding yourself for the answer for somewhere else. So I love that. Two birds with one stone in a really strong and pivotal way. Talk about fully enjoying that yes with helping some of the past. But I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please leave it a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, make sure you're subscribed. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 5. Group number 5, let's find out yes or no to any single question for the next 48 hours by looking at the cards. We've got the Two of Pentacles in reverse, the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Strength card in reverse, and the Page of Wands in reverse. Give me just one moment to look at the cards and the information. Oh, interesting. Wow, interesting. I was actually surprised we hadn't come up to this type of question yet. Okay, so we're going to be going into a little bit convoluted answer, but it's actually not that convoluted. We can talk about why and how you can make it more definitive, and just all the ins and outs to better understand. So this is really interesting how my spirit guide put it. They said it's not a yes or no yet, that it's sort of up in the air at the moment. Now we can change that. That's the beauty of tarot. You look into these things so you can get more specific or change things how you want them by understanding the circumstance. That is one of the reasons why I am such a fan of tarot and I love tarot so much. So first we're going to start off with almost a little bit of the centerpiece, if you will, the theme card with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So my spirit guide said that right now you're sort of at odds. You can't quite make a decision. They said this is actually the main reason why you're having a lot of errors around you, a lot of things sort of like messing up or a little bit off or you can't go right. I mean, keep in mind, Two of Pentacles in reverse is not a big deal or something that you should be concerned about. This is something very chill, like dropping a plate or accidentally being a little late. Nothing major, nothing to be a concern. But when you feel this sort of chaotic energy out around you, it is a reflection of how you feel internally. That actually gets expressed over here in the Strength card in reverse, which distinctly talks about this idea of feeling like you're in control. If we look at this imagery right here, this person is in control of the lion or the beast, and they are very aware of how to bend and fold, and they know what to do. They're very in center with themselves. But with it being in reverse, well, the lion does whatever it wants. I did ask you deeper questions if this is something that's like purely internal, that implies subtext, that there is sort of a creature inside you that needs to be controlled, and to view it that way, or if this is like an outside force, another person. They said it's just in general, my spirit guide said it's just in general the concept of feeling out of control. And again, the main reason why is there hasn't been a main decision made by you of like what it is you really want. It's like you're asking yes or no, but deep in your heart you're like, well, I could go over here, I could go over there. And there's being flexible, and then there's being indecisive. And that's the main thing going on here. Now, the cool thing is we have the Seven of Cups in reverse, which isn't at all like a negative thing, but it is something to think about. So this is talking about the idea that there are actually more opportunities around you than you might be aware of at this moment. So you might be asking this one thing and being like, well, yes or no to this. Little do you know, you're going to be getting a lot more opportunities. They're kind of all waiting around you. So there's a lot of room to be indecisive to a certain degree, which is great because it takes the pressure off you and gives you some time to mull things over and look at your options, so to speak. But it is in reversed, and it talks, when it is in reverse, it talks about the idea of being decisive, the idea that in the end, you will have to make a singular decision. You will have to choose from those opportunities and situations. Remember, those opportunities can be multiple people you're choosing between, multiple, anything from like jobs to projects, whatever it be, because again, this is a general reading, but whatever it is, you're going to have to choose something. And again, you're only having trouble with that because you haven't kind of looked inside yourself and been like, you can see all the possibilities, but nothing's quite resonating with you yet. And that's something really important to talk about when we have the Page of Wands in reverse. So with the Page of Wands, when it is upright traditionally, it talks about this idea of moving forward down a path because you're passionate about it. You're excited about it. The path is being unfolded in front of you and created because you're creating it because of this excitement. And that's the main thing that's fueling it, manifesting it, and guiding you. But you just haven't found your passion for it yet. Now, my spirit guide was telling me that this can become a path that's open, and we're talking about this idea that right now it feels like you're unmoving, that there's things kind of chaotically going around you. You're not quite sure why. You'd like to move forward, but you're not sure how or why it's not opening up. Here's the path. You're the path. All you have to do is look inside yourself and say, okay, I know I can see all the opportunities, all the options. Stop saying, I don't know, or I'm not sure, because obviously that is not the answer. You're going to remove that from your vocabulary right now. And you're going to sit down and not compare things, but look inside yourself and say, moving forward in this decision I'm making, what is it I truly want? Don't look at what is possible in the scenarios around you. Ask yourself what it is moving forward. What do I really want? And make a list potentially of that. And then you can make a list of the other things and compare it. But in the end, to be honest with you, you're not always you can think or perceive how a job's going to be or how a scenario is going to be with someone, but you're not going to really know until you move forward. Connect more. Instead of looking at all those scenarios, look more internally within yourself and let that guide your decision making by pulling it. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be through just like intuition, or maybe you do have a guarantee of the circumstance and you're like, that fits more the scenario of what I truly want. Whatever it is, when you're becoming more decisive what it is you're truly wanting and you're passionate, you're naturally opening up that path. To be honest with you, let me just double check with my spirit guide. Okay, perfect. This is exactly it. I love this. So because we talk about you being represented by the Page of Wands, you're creating that destiny. So by you being more like set in stone with being like, this is what I want going forward, this is what I'm passionate about. Again, not finding those traits in the other opportunities, but just deep down, what is it that you want? Do you want to be able to have a flexible time period? Do you want to be able to have somebody that is their love language through attention? Whatever it is, the question you're particularly asking, what is it that you specifically want moving forward in general? And as you create that excitement for it, you realize what it is you really want. That's the main thing. You're figuring it out and you're like, yeah, I love this idea. I love believing in this. This would be cool. You will naturally cancel out the other options and the main option will come to you and you'll be like, this is it. this is how it worked out. So understand, if you're moving towards something and it doesn't work out, it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because that wasn't the option that was meant to work out for you. You're opening yourself up for the other, because remember, a bunch of options are moving your way. So right now it's a yes or no. So the situation you're asking about, like, is it a yes or no? Should I do that? More focus on what is it that you really want, and then in turn you'll get your answer. And if it is a no, that doesn't mean it's a no in general towards the thing you're moving towards. It just means that this particular scenario is not the best option that will fulfill that alignment of what you really want. Remember, you're the path. Be the path. Create the path by literally setting yourself in stone to create the stone that you can walk on. So I love that for you. That's very cool. That's very cute. If you enjoyed this reading, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you're still subscribed. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one. And let's get ready for our final group. Group number 6. Group number 6. Let's find out yes or no to any single one of your questions over the next 48 hours by looking at the cards. We have, oh, speaking of 6, perfect. 6 of Cups in reverse. Ooh, 9 of Cups upright. That is fantastic. 3 of Wands in reverse and 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Give me one moment to look at the details of this card reading. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is awesome. So let's go over both the answer, but a little more reasons why, so you can understand all the hard work you've done up to this point, while you're receiving it and getting excited about it and the process. So we have where you've been first, which is really interesting to pop up. One thing I love about tarot is it will tell you what you need, not necessarily what you want, which is a good thing, because you're essentially getting the answers you didn't know you needed to ask the right questions, or getting context you didn't know you needed. So in the 6 of Cups in reverse, this talks about where you've been and where you're leaving and where you're heading to, which I love. So my spirit guide wanted me to specifically, I'm sharing this because if you're a tarot reader yourself, or you're enjoying my tarot my tarot training course, where we can read cards in so many different ways. And they specifically wanted me to focus on the number 6. And this in this reading talks about cups. So again, if you're familiar with my tarot training course, I go very deep into numerology. I went to the Akashic records to get all that information. And 6 is really interesting. 6 is a very high vibrational number. A great way of looking at 6 is, so for the number 5 in the Akashic records, the number 5 is this idea of like you've broken through. You've just started to see outside of the box, the bigger picture. This is like the beginning of high vibrational thinking, but 6 is the embodiment of high vibrational thinking. You're in it. You've not only broken through, but you're now currently living in it. This is your day-to-day life, being in that type of thinking experience, embodiment, whether it be in the activities around you, your mindset, whatever. It's a fantastic number. And Cups is the representation of emotions. Now, with it being in reverse, this is sort of not only the opposite of saying it's not high vibrational, low vibrational emotionally, not in a good headspace, feeling like maybe, I don't want to, I'm just giving some scenarios. I'm not accusing of anything, and this isn't necessarily bad, but blaming others for whatever we've been through, so on and so forth. Again, I want to be clear, everyone's been through their own thing. We're just putting out some scenarios in there, but whatever it is, when it's in reverse, we want to talk about the connotation of the subtext going on here. So it talks about the opposite of it. But why does it say the opposite of it rather than something like the Queen of Cups, which if it was in reverse, we would talk about being emotionally imbalanced? Because this is the idea of you were previously not in that headspace and you did a full 180, which is when you were deeply connecting to your emotions. Your emotions are taking you outside of the way other people aren't normally thinking things. you're seeing all the possibilities. You're realizing kind of like things happen for a reason, but it's more than things happening for a reason. You realize, oh my goodness, I'm so happy that happened. It helped me understand this, and so on and so forth, and really connecting to the best possible perspective on life, and therefore bringing it into your world and like seeing the bigger picture of it all, basically, which is really beautiful. So it's the subtext of where you were and where you're moving towards. And I just want to tell you, ironically, it's called 5D thinking, but I guess you could say 6D thinking. You know, you're heading that space. Being in a 6 or a very high vibrational type of mentality and embodying it in your emotions is like a fantastic place. I think on some level, everyone's trying to strive for. It's more than being happy. It's being self-aware of why you're happy and enjoying it and feeling like you can control what's going to happen next and being a part of that. So it's not just the excitement, it's fulfillment and passion and purpose. So I'm so happy for you. I'm really excited for you. So it shows where you've been and the hard work you've put in to move there. Now that hard work is really important to pay attention to when what you got going on over here. So one of our ultimate like yes, strong just yes to what you're saying is when we have this card, which is the wish card, which I love. This is not only a card saying like, yeah, you're gonna get that thing you really want, but it's like you're not only gonna get it, you're gonna get even more than what you had potentially been asking for. So it's not just like, oh my gosh, I got my dream job. It's like you got your dream job and you get benefits and you get free snacks and you get free trips you didn't even know, and now everyone respects and loves you because you know what I mean? It's going above and beyond what you had even imagined you could want. So it's not just this, it's not only this great placement of like it's really cool to receive the thing you want, but when I notice this clear path sort of open up for an individual, and we're going to be actually talking about that path because that path is very clear for you, and we're going to talk about that in a second, it's really important to consider because that shows that you know the right thing to ask. Because sometimes manifestations don't happen because our unconsciousness doesn't, our subconscious doesn't want it for a reason. It knows better than us and says, hey, I don't want this. I don't want this. Maybe that is something that needs to be worked on. You never know what people are going through. But sometimes it's saying, hey, in my heart, I don't really want this. You might not know this yet, but my inner self knows this and I don't want it. This means you do know what you want. And not only you do know what you want, you're sort of aligning up in life and paths and scenarios and energies and situations and self-awareness and putting in the hard work in yourself and your environment and all this beautiful jazz in order to create the clearest, strongest path to not only receive this thing that is you're asking about, but receive the best possible case scenario for it. So it shows how in tune you are with yourself, the hard work, everything. It's got this great subtext of just not only the excitement of yay, it's happening, woo, and it's even better than what I hoped, and the excitement for it, but being really proud of yourself and how you got there, and being self-aware of, oh, if I got there by getting in this type of mindset, then if I keep working towards this mindset, then I'll keep getting these type of scenarios, these type of wish cards, these type of 9 of cups, and I can keep manifesting whatever it is I would like to have in my life, which is beautiful. Now I want to talk about the path really quickly because these are both path cards, which are really cool. So they're actually not being read in reverse, they're actually being read upright, but they're sort of facing and moving into the card. So over here we have the 3 of Wands. Now the 3 of Wands is all about messages being sent back and forth. So it's this, I think of it as like the in-between journey of you getting to that thing or getting the thing being brought to you, whatever it is you're asking about, right? And it's this idea of like it being clear path. This is a sort of a fluidity to it. It's in momentum. People are helping with it. You're ready to receive it, that type of thing. But when we talk about people helping you, that is where the 3 of Pentacles comes in, which is really beautiful. The 3 of Pentacles shows other individuals seeing and wanting to help you, being passionate because you're passionate, picking up your good vibes and wanting to send those things your way and being a part of it. So if this is the pathway, think of this as sort of the manifestation coming into form. So this is anything from individuals seeing that you're like really wanting the best for you and then giving you those opportunities and setting it up. This could be maybe your spirit guides being like, you're in the right place, we can finally send it this your way, and putting it that way. Whoever it is, there are people working on your side, there are forces working on your side, you're working on your side, all of these things together. And I don't think it's a coincidence, a synchronicity that 3 + 3 = 6. So all of this is coming together to make this happen. So not only this is a very, 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 very strong yes, but it's showing what you came from, what that meant, and what that can mean in the long run. That you are creating something that is in turn being mimicked in the environment around you, and you're benefiting from it in a very big way. And you can continue to use that mindset and mentality moving forward to continue to create more of these sort of answers in the card readings, which is really beautiful. So I love this for you. I'm very excited for you. I love you so much. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.